Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 386 for Tuesday, the 10th of February, 2015. Hiya, I'm Robbie.
I'm Sasha.
Tonight we're going to be really giving the show to our viewers. We have received everything from comments to suggestions to, of course, viewer questions. So we're going to rip into the mailbag in just a couple of minutes' time.
Yeah, the mailbag and the chat room. So if you have questions, post them in the chat room and we'll try and get to them today.
It's a great way to get to us.
Yep. And now the news tease. Here's what's coming up in the Category5.tv newsroom. Blip.tv is winding down after the company that bought them out got bought out. The first straw houses in the UK to be offered on the open market are for sale. Google is rebooting Glass, and an Ubuntu-powered smartphone is coming to the market. Samsung is warning customers about discussing personal information in front of their smart television sets. Stick around, the full details are coming up later in the show.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Starring Sasha Dermatis, Hillary Rumble, Krista Wells, Eric Kidd, and your host, Robbie Ferguson.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson.
I am Sasha Dermatis.
So nice to have you here. Sasha mentioned at the top of the show, make sure you join us in the chat room. It's Category 5 on Freenode. Both her and I are there, as well as many people from our viewer community. So make sure you get into Category 5 on Freenode. If you're not sure how to get onto an IRC channel, we make it easy for you. Go to our website, www.category5.tv. And right there, you'll find the Interact menu and click on the chat room. And you'll find your way in.
If I can do it, you can do it.
There you go.
So, and then I'll see you right here. Beautiful.
Good way to get your questions in tonight, too, because we are really committing the show to you. Another way is to email us live at category5.tv.
Oh, here's the part where I say Category5.tv is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. cat5.tv/TPN and the International Association of Internet Broadcasters, cat5.tv/IAIB. Show off.
Just
so
reading
there
what
you
it
have
says
it.
on the teleprompter.
Robbie
Oh,
Ferguson.
right. We
Got
don't have
to
one of those.
love him. Why don't you tell me how your phone is doing?
Well, Becca's phone that we looked at last week, now that was a lot of fun for one thing, and lots of great feedback on our YouTube channel and getting a lot of emails about the time that we had last week as we kind of cut up a SIM card and made it into a micro SIM and did some interesting things. But one of the things that we kind of ran a little short on time, and so we didn't actually get to crack the phone or unlock the phone.
Right.
So I did continue to do that after the show, and so I recorded the what it was I was doing so that I could show you how it went. And it went exceptionally well. So I got the unlock code, and after installing my SIM, got prompted and just entered the unlock code, and lo and behold, the phone suddenly would take a SIM from another manufacturer now. So it wasn't locked down to Fido at that point. So now that it's unlocked, the next step was to set up the pay-as-you-go service. This is what I'm able to do where you can get service for $25 every 4 months, and so it ends up being just a little more than $6 a month as far as the service goes.
Right.
Right. If you didn't catch that feature, make sure you go back to episode number 385, and you'll find that again at category5.tv. If you're on Roku, it's the Category 5 Technology TV channel. You'll find Category 5 Technology TV in there, as well, of course, Category 5 TV on YouTube. So now that I had the phone unlocked, first thing I did was boot up. And I'm going to give you the live voiceover for the video that was pre-recorded at the end of last week's show, just so that you know what's actually going on here. So you know that I cut up the card. I cut up one of the pay-as-you-go cards from Petro-Canada. It's a gas station, but they do cell phone service.
That's hilarious.
How crazy is that, right? But you see it when you go into the gas station, and there they are. So first thing I do, I've got the card in, and I'm going to dial a phone number. So we'll dial the studio 254-522-8588. And you'll see what the phone tells me is that it's not not registered on a network. So there's the warning. This is before I unlocked it. It said there was an unregistered SIM. So then after I unlocked it, there's a little disconnect in the video. But after I unlocked it, all I had to do was go to their website. This is provided by Petro-Canada. So this would be the same, similar kind of setup to any pay-as-you-go service. You basically go to their website and activate the card. And then you need to get your IEMI number again. So that's where you just enter that code. It's *#06#, and then enter your IMEI, into the interface. And that basically activates your phone. So now the SIM is going to be activated on that telephone. So maybe it was unlocked at this point. Must have been. So it goes through the activation process. Nothing seemingly going on the phone, but you'll notice then it said that it has been activated. So next thing I did was I rebooted the phone. And then you'll notice here something has changed. Now it's been activated. It says that the SIM card is recognized as Petro-Canada. So, and there, just to show you what it is that I activated. So it is picking up the SIM. So I was able to successfully unlock the phone, as well as convert the full-size SIM into a micro SIM for this phone. It's the Samsung Galaxy Core LTE. We'll try dialing our number again, just to see if this makes any difference.
Oh, it'd be so great if the phone rang right now.
So you see the phone is now working. It's not giving me the same error, but it's telling me that there's no money on the phone in order to make that phone call. So you pick up a ticket for pay-as-you-go service. $25 is what it cost me, and you just enter the code that is on your receipt. So you actually punch that into the phone. So you're basically done with the web interface at this point. And once that's done, if all goes well, it just quickly dials out, and then there you have it. I've refilled my account, $25. My balance is $25, and you notice it expires on June 3rd. Now, this was filmed on February 3rd, so it literally gives me the 4 months at only $25.
$25.
Yeah. So let's redial, 254-522-8588. And ta-da!
So if somebody were to call that number, the phone would ring here.
Well, when we're on the air, the phone is turned off.
Oh, okay.
Unless we have the cat phone open.
Oh, okay.
Which we tend to do sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, people can call that number. It's 2545-CAT5-TV. It's on our website, but that's another way that you could get into us, but I'd have to plug in the phone.
Don't do it tonight, folks.
Don't do it tonight. You're not going to get through.
Unless you're not watching live, and then go ahead and give it a try.
There you go. So it worked. I mean, it absolutely worked flawlessly. Everything that we demonstrated last week as far as cutting up that card and making it into a micro SIM, it worked. And then unlocking the phone, it worked. And then activating it on pay-as-you-go, it worked. So now Becca's stuck with a phone that is a Samsung Galaxy Core LTE.
Right.
For free.
She's stuck with a free phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nice one.
Yeah.
And then it's activated and set up so that it only costs just $25 every 4 months. And if you want to know how that was done, of course, we talked a little bit about that on last week's show, but also talked about it previously. You can go to my blog, baldnerd.com, and find out all about pay as you go. It's just pay as you go service. But when you've got basic needs like myself or my wife, you don't necessarily need to be paying into a contract where you're paying a whole lot every month, because it's really just for emergencies and the occasional, oh, do you mind picking up milk kind of call. So it kind of works out.
So you keep your phone on Wi-Fi then whenever you...
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, so for our internet service on that device, and for my devices as well, I just use Wi-Fi, because here, at least in Canada, and certainly I believe most places that are fairly well connected these days, you're going to have Wi-Fi at most coffee shops. And you tend to pick the ones that have Wi-Fi, and those are the ones that you're going to frequent.
Right.
But for me, I go from home, where I have Wi-Fi, to work, where I also have Wi-Fi.
How's the coffee at work?
Very good.
Good.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah,
so you skip the coffee shop with Wi-Fi altogether?
Well, I sometimes stop, but that's a whole other story. Especially, I get gift cards sent to me and stuff, and that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Robbie gets gift cards sent to him. Nice.
Right.
Middle child syndrome here going on.
Sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
This week, speaking of sending gift cards, just a quick little appeal to our community in that this week was a pretty rough week as far as expenditures go. The co-host laptop, which now you remember several years ago, Category 5, the studio, I believe it was Studio B, was broken into. We were robbed. Laptop was stolen, and the community came together and purchased for us a new laptop. So that's what you're actually using tonight. So that laptop has been in operation all this time. Like, we're going back to when Christy Burton was co-host on the show.
Oh, this is before me.
Yeah, well before when you were with the show. So that's the laptop that. So we've gotten a lot of use out of it and a lot of life out of it, and that was, of course, contribution from our community of viewers. Everybody kind of came together and replaced that for us, and the appreciation for that is through the roof. But the hard drive crashed on Thursday. And because of the new studio, the laptop is kind of what I'm taking back and forth to home and doing the uploads every Tuesday night, so that you've got the show Wednesday morning and this and that and all that kind of stuff that's going on. Even producing your show, I'm doing it on the laptop.
Right.
So couldn't have downtime, had to go out and buy a new hard drive for the laptop. So, that cost about $100. And then we had our internet was down for 5 days here at the studio. So we're using LTE internet. It was completely inoperable for about 5 days. I was worried that we were it was gonna push us to have to go to the next solution, but fortunately the ISP was able to get it up and running and figured out whatever it was. I felt really, really helpless with the internet because it's a wireless device. Mm-hmm. We're plugged in through a USB port to an LTE hotspot, and it's not like a modem that I can unplug and plug back in and see if it comes back online, and I can diagnose the internal wiring. There is none. So you're basically entirely reliant on the ISP. Wow. So that was kind of a rough couple days. But we're live tonight, and they had us back up and running in time. They promised that they would try. So all that to say, we have our monthly expenses here at the studio, and we're really starting to gauge, I think, how much it costs to run the show no longer out of my house. Now it's in a studio space, and we're having new expenses that we've never had before. And most of the contributions that have been coming in are, all of them are hugely appreciated, but they're very specifically allocated to things like the camera upgrade project, the internet upgrade project, but we still have those month-to-month expenses, and more so now than ever before.
Right.
So if you have the means to do so, if you could kindly go to cat5.tv/C and just throw a little tip in the tip jar, and that would just help us out immensely. If you have the means to do so, to actually subscribe to a monthly contribution of any amount, doesn't matter how little or how much, everything makes a difference, especially when we've got such a large community.
Right.
Everybody giving $5 would be an astronomical just boost to our month-to-month.
There's a way that just your regular online shopping can also kick back to us.
Yeah, and some people have found some really unique ways to support the show too. For example, you want to give a gift card for a movie pass.
Right.
For a birthday gift or a Christmas gift or whatever it might be. And so you go to our website, category5.tv, click on support us and affiliate links, and you see Amazon. So then you go to Amazon and you purchase your gift card. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't cost you any more than the value of the gift card, but a small amount of the transaction actually goes to help Category 5 TV because you followed through our affiliate link. And anything that you want to buy on Amazon, eBay, B&H Photo Video, Tube Tape, so many different shops there.
So spectacular. Really so conceivably, you could do all of your shopping really through the affiliate link.
Does Amazon do groceries yet?
I'm pretty sure that you could probably have some major bulk products.
Sell everything.
I would like to order one quartered cow.
I laugh about it, but I actually, right now, at this very moment, in my Amazon cart, have dishwasher detergent.
Well, then, you've answered your own query, have you not?
Well, it's not groceries, but, I mean, Becca said to me we were low on dishwasher detergent, so I literally went on Amazon, found it. It's like $20 cheaper than buying it in the grocery store.
Yeah, not for long.
In bulk, right?
Yeah. Good Guy says they do sell groceries on Amazon. Nice. You want
there you have it, folks. You got to eat.
That's right.
You got to eat.
I was more thinking you would buy gift cards and then use the gift cards
really
at
like
the
that
grocery
idea.
store.
I mean, that's such a unique way to support the show.
Yeah. I could do that.
Yeah.
Anybody could, if I can do it. This is going to be my slogan. If I can do it, you can do it.
I always think it's kind of interesting how the world, the economy works and how shopping works, in that you could go and buy a gas gift certificate for gasoline for your car. You're going to spend $20 anyways. You just buy it through that way, and a portion of it goes to help the show. It's really interesting that is possible. Mm-hmm. But it's very cool. So thanks to those who use the affiliate links as well. Not to spend too much time on that, but it was important for me to mention just because we really kind of felt it a little bit this week. So
Robbie's been losing his hair from all of the stress.
I know, look at this. I had beautiful hair until just
I wish it was
Thursday.
a before and after. He's now balder nerd. If there could be such a thing.
I'm going to have to check the .com. Note to self. All right, is the .com available? Balder nerd.
I am just going to delve right in now
Sounds
to these
fantastic.
emails. I have a fun one. It says, it's from John Zim.
Hey, John.
Thanks for reading and answering my question on air. Sorry for sending it twice. I got really excited when I tried Unraid and could not help myself. Thank you for such a great show.
Yes.
So that's a little...
Hey, you know what? Thanks for the follow-up. Appreciate it. We talked about Unraid a few weeks back.
Yeah, it was
sent in some questions. And yeah, he's right. We didn't let on the show, but we got the same email a few times. And it's really, really, you find technology and realize, it's like when I first discovered Linux, and it's the excitement and the realization that there's something different out there and something freeing. And Unraid is certainly one of those technologies that is really freeing from the technical headache of running a NAS, network-attached storage. And these days it's getting so great and so sophisticated, and you've got the ability to do some really cool things with Unraid beyond just storage.
So, I mean, take a note from John, really, because truth be told, if you don't get an answer right off the bat, there's no problem just sending it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, might as well. Or try a couple different things. Send it and then also mention that you sent it in the chat room.
There you go. Yeah, did you get my email?
It down. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's true, too, because we do get so much email that sometimes things... I don't know that things necessarily always... They don't slip through the cracks, but sometimes there's such an amount of emails that it's hard to get to each one. So we hope to. We certainly try our best. A lot of spam, too. We get a lot of spam.
And not the edible kind.
No.
Is there any edible spam, really? Here is a question from, is it JWMP? 5051. Yes. This is a great one. Hey, Robbie, you give a very entertaining TV program. It's so nice to see you laid-back folks just having some geeky fun. And I'm in awe of your vast knowledge. Yes, I know Google plays a part of it, too. It must feel good now that you have room to swing a cat.
Oh, is that what the cat's for? This is the cat that Hillary got us for the open house. So that's the
room to swing a cat. So
okay.
There we go.
Swing a cat.
There you go. I just hope that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
We really have the room for it.
I think it's funny that you got a cat.
If it wasn't porcelain, I could play catch with it.
Yeah, I think it's great that you got a cat in a studio that's now big enough to swing a cat.
There you go. It's good luck, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just hope all your damp problems are finally solved. Are they
Yes.
solved?
Yeah, I believe so. And actually, today was a good thought. And just to fill in those who are not familiar with the Studio D project, when we took over this space, we came in, and what did we find? We did a big clean. The first day was a big clean, and somebody was cleaning one of the walls, and the wall kind of came apart, and there was water damage, and there was mold, and it was a mess. So we got in here. We had to pretty much gut the place, and that's what he's referring to about the moisture issues.
Yeah.
So we had so many wonderful volunteers. Robert was here several days, caulking all the windows and all the entry points, and we had other friends of the show that were here doing work outside and inside, and I believe they were able to seal it up. I mean, we got all the drywall up and no more problems. And today being a fairly good thaw, it was pretty mild today.
And
We've got a lot of snow.
There is no water inside.
No water inside. I actually observed as I was coming into the studio, because our lobby had leaking before.
Oh.
Like back when we took over in the summer. And there was no leaking. So that's,
Yay.
that's
Our damp
really
problems have been resolved.
Yes.
All right. I just had an experience, not I, but he. I just had an experience which may be worth warning the community about. Although I've been using Linux on and off for many years, Mandrake 7 was my first attempt back in the 90s, I have never had the dedication to get down to the nitty-gritty of the CLI and delving deep into how it all works.
CLI being the command line interface.
Thank you.
The terminal.
The terminal. Okay,
The
I don't
black
know.
window where you type stuff instead of...
Oh, that's what
using
I
the
want to
mouse.
get into.
Yeah?
Yes. Right?
All right.
That's, yes.
Stick around. Guess what's coming up? You're going to learn Bash.
That's a great idea. And that
Very
other
good.
one. Remember?
And that other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have played and am still playing with many flavors from Backtrack to Zorin, but they're all under VirtualBox. The following is my first attempt in many years to install natively on the hardware, and there were problems. Bear in mind that I've never seen a RAID drive under Linux, so I didn't know what to expect. I have a Pentium 4 3.8 gigahertz tower with a 2 RAID 250 gigabytes drive. Is that right?
RAID 2 drive, RAID 0.
Oh, RAID 0.
250 gigabytes. So
Drives.
two drives.
Okay, 2 drives.
That are striped. So, or not. So it's basically, it's a RAID 0, so it'd be 500 gigs of space.
Oh, okay. That
on
makes
a RAID.
sense. Okay. With XP Media Center installed and another 500 gigabytes NTFS drive for data, all SATA. This is not English. I think I
Doing
bought
well.
it. Thank you. I think I bought it in about 2003. It's big and
Oh.
noisy by today's standards with all the fans, but it's still fairly quick for most of the stuff I use. And it's a lot quieter since I upgraded the old ATI video card to a nice new NVIDIA card a couple of years ago.
Good way to do it. I mean, if you can build your own and keep kind of upgrading. Isn't it sad, though, John, I encountered this, where, you know, you build a RAID 0 for the performance of it at the risk of data loss, because a RAID 0 is not a safe RAID. There's no redundancy at all. But you get the speed of 2 drives basically combined.
Right.
And the capacity of 2 drives combined. So you get 500 gigs instead of 250. You get faster because it's using the 2 spindles to write data simultaneously. But then SSDs come along, and they're able to write, 500 megabytes plus per second.
Insane.
And yeah, puts your RAID 0 to shame, doesn't it? And yet you can get them for so cheap.
Well, then, I mean, you might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PC isn't used that much anymore since I have several laptops for myself and family, and XP has been a bit unstable at times. I think I might need a new motherboard soon. I decided it was time to have a clear out and get rid of XP, creating a dual boot system. It's been a big decision, really, because I've got many years of software installations and tons of data on there. Anyway, I backed up the entire system to my NAS. That right? And then installed
Network attached storage.
Okay.
So it's a server box, a storage unit that is attached to a network so other computers can save to it.
Okay. and then installed Windows 7 onto the RAID device.
Okay.
RAIDed drives.
Yeah.
RAIDed drives.
So we got Windows 7 installed.
Yes.
And then?
And then I installed Point Linux onto the 500 gigabyte drive, SDB, I don't know if that's important. During the installation, I used...
The second drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used the installation, I used gparted.
Yeah, that's a partition manager.
Okay. On the live...
I can bring it up. So
okay, let's bring it up.
gparted. So I'm going to go into
gparted.
my system here.
While you're doing that, I will just note that both emails today have been by people named John.
Isn't that interesting? gparted. Here we go.
gparted. Here it goes.
So when you mentioned SDB is basically... So SD is an SATA hard drive, essentially. Usually that's the case, as opposed to an IDE hard drive. That's the interface, the plug that plugs in the hard drive.
Okay.
So SD. That tells you it's probably an SATA hard drive. So SDA is the first hard drive. SDB is the second hard drive. SDC is the third, and so on. So SDA is his array. So there are actually two hard drives working as SDA simultaneously through a RAID. SDB is a separate 500 gig hard drive. That's what he means.
Oh, when he was explaining the previous... Okay.
So he had installed the Windows on SDA, which is the array, and then he's going to install Linux on the SDB.
Okay.
Did gparted ever come on?
I don't know.
GK sudo gparted. Enter my password. There it is. Need a GK sudo. So this is a partition manager called gparted. And this is a representation of my hard drive. And as I was saying, see mine? SDA.
Oh, okay.
1 now signifies the first partition. Pardon me, the first partition on that drive. So I also have SDA2, which is the same hard drive, but it's the second partition.
So what would the reasoning be to go 1, 2, and then 5? Because it appears that you have 1, 2, and 5. So
what is the reasoning, Linus Torvalds? No, that's the thing, is that nobody really knows. It's kind of, it's not necessarily sequential. So 5 doesn't necessarily mean the fifth partition. I'm just trying to really make it understandable.
Got it.
So in this case, in my particular case, SDA1 just happens to be the first partition. SDA2 just happens to be the second partition. Because we see the number 2 and we think, oh, that's the second.
Obviously.
Well, no, it's not actually. That's not why it's the second. It's the second because SDA1 happens first on the drive. Then SDA2 happens. Then, what? SDA5 happens.
Right.
Well, SDA5 is not the fifth partition. It's just, it happens to be the third.
The third one is called 5.
It just happens to be labeled as or attributed to SDA5. Yeah.
See what just happened here with this conversation?
I know.
Yeah.
We should do it in Bosch and that other one. So you see, now I have SDB as well. That's my second hard drive.
Oh,
these are both arrays. You see that these are actually both RAID zeros. So they're identical arrays, two arrays. One's for storage, one's for my operating system. So I can manipulate the partition table using gparted, which allows you to make changes to your file system. So in his case, one drive array might be the Windows file system, NTFS, right? NT being Windows NT FS file system. So then when he creates the new partitions for Linux, they're going to be Linux file systems.
Right. That's the dual boot thing? Is that what that is?
Dual booting allows you to run two operating systems on the same computer, and in order to change between them, you just reboot your computer. It's brilliant for somebody who wants to, say you want to be able to use certain Windows applications in a native environment. Perfect case of that would be games, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to run them in a virtual machine because performance will be degraded.
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
All right.
Okay. So I used gparted on the live DVD to partition the drives for swap and /home partitions. Okay. I noted that all 3 drives were correctly displayed, but didn't adjust any settings on the Windows drives, SDA and SDC. At the end of the installation, Point Linux asks where to install Grub. I chose the first displayed drive where I knew Windows was installed.
SDA,
since I wanted to be able to dual boot.
But that's your array for the Windows
So this was a
drive.
problem.
Okay.
Oh, was it? Is that what you're thinking?
Possibly. Depends on the boot order.
After the restart, there was no bootloader. There were no bootable drives.
Okay.
Both Windows and Linux were unavailable. Both of them.
Okay.
I went to the live...
Don't fear.
Okay.
They're still there. Just the bootloader's gone.
Okay. So I went to the live DVD again and Googled GPartEd and RAID and quickly found that GPartEd 0.12.1 has an issue with detection of RAID drives. This bug was corrected in 0.14.1, though there may still be other bugs in later versions.
Okay.
So, the Point Linux installation DVD uses GPartEd 0.12.1, as does the final installation, even after installing all updates.
Okay. So Point Linux, the installer, is using the version that he's found is actually susceptible to this bug.
Right. Okay. So there's also security vulnerability in issues lower than 0.14.1.
Okay.
There's a news link here.
Catching all this? I know you are. One day you're going to be like, oh, what was that episode where they talked about the version of Grub and Point Linux and getting it to dual boot with a RAID 0?
Yeah. And then
386.
Yeah,
Here it is.
Here it is. I'm pretty certain that Point Linux simply wrote the Grub bootloader to the physical drive SDA, ignoring the fact that it was actually a member of a striped RAID array. Is this Grub write performed by a call to GPartEd or some other software?
No, not GPartEd. It would be whatever. Like GPartEd is a front end for us to be able to manipulate the partition tables.
Okay.
Linux, the installer, will, like Grub would do a Grub install on the drive. Carry on, because I'd like to find out where
this
John
goes?
is going with this.
Okay.
Yeah, before I interrupt and give my thoughts.
Okay. After a lot of faffing, which I didn't know was a word, after a lot of faffing around in the BIOS, I eventually got the drives unrated and Windows reinstalled on one of the 250 gigabyte drives.
Faffing.
Faffing.
Time wasted effing around.
Oh! I'm going to use that. Even though it could see the drives...
Every distro hopper knows all about faffing, I guess.
Even though it could see the drives, Windows refused to install it until I reinstated the RAID controller with no configured RAID array. Finally, I installed Point Linux on the second 250 gigabyte drive and partitioned the 500 gigabyte drive so that 50% is NTFS and 50% external 4,
ext4 is the Linux file system that he'd be using.
Okay.
My head is spinning, so don't worry.
Okay. All is working well, and once I've got some of the more essential software installed, I will move the /home folder to the ext4
to the partition
on the 500 gigabyte drive, as you explained in episode 337. Many thanks for that tutorial.
Indeed.
I would think it would be a good idea to warn people not to use the Point Linux version of GPartEd to partition the drives if there is a RAID configuration present. My next question has to be, how do I get an up-to-date version of GPartEd installed in Point Linux? It doesn't matter so much now, but even after updating the Synaptic Package Manager, only version 0.12.1/2 is available.
This is GPartEd?
Yes.
Okay, so not the Grub bootloader itself, but GPartEd. Okay.
Yes, because out of the box, I get a 404 not found error when issuing apt-get updates. And
404?
Yeah.
That's a file not found.
File not found. 404 sometimes are fun to find because some people will do fun things with their 404. I have found.
Yes. Ours is pretty fun.
I don't know what ours looks like. What's
you don't
our
know
404?
what our 404 looks like?
No. Let's see.
All right. Not to digress. Category5.tv/blah, blah, 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 blah. Page not found.
Oh, I love it.
Poor guy.
We have a good 404.
But our 404 also automatically generates search for you and does all this kind of stuff. And it will automatically check our database for stuff. But there you go.
Look at how much hair you had then. And
that wasn't me.
It's 6:59. It's like 1 minute to 7.
Exactly.
That is perfect.
Anyway,
please,
to digress too much.
Well, please make your 404s fun
Make
for
them
people
fun,
like
folks.
me. Okay. I am enclosing a text file repos showing the outpost of apt-get update home/John/repos.
Oh, okay. There's a screenshot. I'm going to look at that. Let's see what
Okay.
version of... Yeah, see, gparted on my system, Point Linux, is 0.12.1.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty classic, eh? 2012.
Mm-hmm. So
what you can do, little hack around. If you're in a situation... Now, that has always worked just fine for me. I've never had any trouble like you have, John. It seems... Pardon me, it's specific to your particular installation. Oh boy, those RAID drives are causing the problem that he's encountering with gparted. So, because it's never affected me, it's okay. But because it's affecting you, well, you could think creatively and get a gparted live disk. As far as getting the latest version on Point Linux, I mean, you can check repositories. It is an older version on the Point Linux that I have installed. But the version of Point Linux that I have installed is based on Debian stable. Point Linux 3, for example, is based on Debian testing. So
Okay.
That's an unstable branch, which means they have more bleeding edge software. So if you're using a stable Debian, it's going to be older software because it's tried and true, it's tested, and it works really well. If you want to have the bleeding edge stuff, newer versions of software, you've got to go with something that's not considered stable. And stable in this case doesn't necessarily mean it's going to break your system.
right.
It simply means that it has been tried and true.
Right. So there's no bugs or anything found in it?
Or the bugs have been worked out or worked around.
Right.
Or at least it's considered to be stable enough that it's to be called stable. But testing and unstable branches of the operating system just simply mean that they're newer versions of software that have not been tested as much. So,
Okay.
so gparted
Yes.
live. So what you can do is you can pre-partition your hard drive, and then boot up and do your install. So what version is this? So gparted live as a live CD or live USB. Let's see, gparted. Does it say the version? I'm not sure, but that's what I would do anyways. If I really needed to, I would look at what live CDs are available. Boot up, repartition my hard drive, then go through the steps.
I have to finish this email because I think it's adorable.
Right.
I apologize for the length of this email. It started out much shorter. Yes, it did. It started out with, "Hi, Robbie." Every email starts short.
Yeah, it really did start short. When I first brought it up, it was this nice little clean window. It was just a white square.
Maybe it will give you an idea for a program feature, which it has sort of become at this point.
There you go.
Yes. P.S. Sometimes it's very difficult to see what is happening and to follow what you are doing on your demo machine, particularly when you're clicking around a bit. It would be really useful if you could somehow get your mouse cursor to display during demos.
I can do that.
Maybe we could try that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's actually done on purpose. So when I do a demo, I can zoom in and I can do stuff. And you don't see my mouse cursor, but you see where I click.
Okay.
Right? Do you want to know why that is?
Why?
Because we're ready for the news.
Right.
And you don't see my mouse cursor.
Right.
Ah?
See? Okay.
So it's a bit of a hack around so that when we do our news segment, which Sasha's going to kind of mosey on over, when we do the news, I don't have a mouse cursor on the screen. Right, Sasha? 'Cause
Right,
that would
Robbie.
just ruin your show. So as a side note, if you've installed a Linux operating system and you find that, Grub is broken, I can't get my system to boot now. I talked about using a live CD with gparted to do your partitioning, but you can actually get a Grub live CD as well to actually fix the Grub bootloader or to reinstall it or to install a newer version. Let's just see here. I always forget the new version, the new name. It's called Rescatux. Used to be called Super Grub Disk, and so I still find it the same way. I type in Super Grub Disk into Google. Rescatux is an application or a boot CD that will allow you to fix botched Grub bootloaders. So if you find yourself in that case, that may be an answer for you. So, in the meantime, we talked about the news, and Sasha Dermatis, it's off to you.
Hello, it's Tuesday, February 10th, 2015, and here are the stories we're covering this week. Blip TV seems to be winding down since the company that bought it was itself recently bought out. Luckily, The Big Bad Wolf is a work of fiction because UK's open housing market now features homes built of straw. If at first you fail, get up and try again. Google is taking another stab at Google Glass, but this time they're not letting us see it until it's ready. The Aquarius E4.5 Ubuntu Edition smartphone is coming to market, and your TV is listening to you. Be careful what you say. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere. Depending on where you're located in this big old world of ours, you may remember it as either the Sega Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis. And now, more than a quarter of a century after its original release in Japan, it's more convenient than ever to take these classic Sega games with you. My review is coming right up, so stick around.
Try it. Buy it.
I'm Sasha Dermatis, and here are the top stories from the Category5.tv newsroom. A lot of online video platforms have disappeared over the years. Now it looks like one, while not shutting down, is having a pretty brisk spring clean. Blip TV, the video distribution startup acquired by Maker Studios, which is now itself getting acquired by Disney, has been sending out notices to many users telling them that their accounts are getting closed. That's on top of the fact that it's currently not accepting new producers. Jeff O'Connell, an SVP of technology at Maker Studios and Blip, says, "Blip isn't shutting down, we're just closing more accounts as part of our effort to focus the library." In the meantime, while Blip the site is up and running, it seems to be somewhat on autopilot. The company's blog has not been updated in 3 months, and one of the last entries invites users to instead follow the Maker Studios blog. Of the two people who ran the Blip.tv blog, one now describes himself as VP of Product at Maker and the other works elsewhere. I don't even know of Blip TV. Is that weird, Robbie? What is Blip TV?
The story of Blip TV's demise. Yeah. And that's why they were able to be purchased for so little. But fact is, we actually broadcasted through Blip.tv for many years. I mean, it was a great service to provide RSS feed provision. So the files, the big video files that we have to serve up. But then, you know, YouTube really, I mean, Blip.tv had nothing on it. But it was more of a focused platform, more for shows as opposed to little short videos kind of thing. So we actually continued to upload to Blip.tv even though it's been dwindling for some time and viewership has gone way, way down on Blip.tv because it still is a provision source for RSS feeds. So in an event that, say, Vimeo went down, we could roll over our feeds to Blip.tv and people would still be able to watch the show on their Roku and on RSS feeds because it would be coming from Blip. So now that they're gone, that means shows like ours have lost that feature, but it also means that some shows that were really heavily broadcasting through Blip, don't know that there are as many anymore.
Right.
It kind of felt like it was dwindling for some time.
Well, Blip,
but it is, you know, it's still sad to see them go.
Yeah,
it was a monetizable platform, and
that story all of a sudden became very depressing to me. I had never heard of them, and now they're gone.
No, they're doing great.
I didn't even know they were awesome, and now they're gone.
Yeah, I know. They were semi-awesome.
Okay,
but it was one of those things. I mean, like any startup and any company that tries to do something differently, it's got to be. It was great for content producers. That's the thing. It was not great for viewers.
Right.
And continues to be so. Mm-hmm. So we've pulled out, so we're no longer on Blip.
Right.
I mean, the old shows are there and everything. Tonight's show will be the first one that's not being uploaded to Blip.tv, which is kind of sad because we've been there since the beginning. Mm-hmm. We've been around a long time, folks.
So, here's a great fun story. As you can see, Studio D is made of brick, but the first straw houses in the UK to be offered on the open market are on sale. Though straw walls might be most readily linked to a story of pigs making questionable construction choices, the team behind these homes says the material could help sustainably meet housing demand. The homes are the result of an engineering research project led by the University of Bath. The houses, on a street of traditional brick-built homes in Bristol, are clad in brick to fit in with the surroundings, but their prefabricated walls are timber-framed, filled with straw bales, and encased in wooden boards. Professor Pete Walker from the University of Bath led the research and says that straw is a very efficient insulator, so these homes should reduce energy bills by as much as 90% compared to the other houses around the site.
What?
Yeah.
Are they building them in like a shack area or?
Well, I'm not done reading the story, so who knows, but I would worry that straw is extraordinarily flammable, right? Like timber burns. Timber doesn't flash burn the way straw flash burns.
Or blown in insulation, for example, blown in foam insulation that I would think would be very effective and efficient. In comparison to something like straw, but with the flame retardation, basically it's able to repel,
but not as sustainable, right?
Not as sustainable, exactly.
This is, I think, pointing towards sustainability. You just don't want a lit candle in your home. You don't want to have Jack be nimble over at the Three Little Pigs house. Although these are not the first homes in the UK to be built using straw bales, they are the first to be built for any buyer in the open market. Professor Walker says the more we can build out of renewable materials like straw and timber, the less carbon will be in the atmosphere, so we can reduce climate change effects. I would agree. I would just worry about the safety. Like, I would rather have a clay home than a straw home.
True.
Right?
Thinking on the carbon thing, though, that makes me think, too, that because as an organic matter, straw would be carbon absorption, right? So would it also help the air?
Right. Unless you had a damp problem, because
that's true too.
Right, because straw as a natural product would mold easily. You would think
very moldy.
So unless you were to spray it with a fire retardant material and a mold resistant material, thus making it less healthy as opposed to more.
Right.
I would like to look into this more. Maybe build myself a straw home. Google is starting again from scratch with its Glass project. Sales of the controversial smart spectacles were halted in January, and development of the prototype was also believed to have been stopped. First revealed in 2011, Google Glass made a big impact in mid-2012 when the company demonstrated it at its developers conference using skydivers and stunt cyclists. It's the wow factor. But many working on the device were unhappy with the exposure because it meant its final development had to take place in public. The New York Times said the controversy the project gained gave rise to tensions among the development team, forcing some key researchers to leave. Glass development is now being driven by former Apple gadget designer Tony Fadell, who has reset the project. The new version will be developed internally and only released when finished. I wonder, it seems very like a covert operation. I wonder what the Glass... Maybe they'll make
this coming from the company that has purchased artificial intelligence companies and robotics companies and now is working behind closed doors.
I just wonder, what is Google Glass going to become? Because I think most of the pushback from Google Glass was that it's creepy and it makes you feel like you're always being recorded, right? So are they just going to make it a little bit less creepy
built into fake eyeballs?
Well, I was thinking, could you really put maybe a contact?
That would be cool.
In your eye that records
augmented
things?
Reality in a contact lens. Now that would be awesome.
That would be really great. That means you could close your eyes and read your email.
Hey, while you sleep, you can watch a movie.
Wow.
I think from a design perspective, I hope that Tony will improve upon their logo, because I don't know about you, I like to kern my logos because GL ass is not a real thing.
Robbie, I haven't had a lot of sleep. If I
all of my designer viewers are saying, learn to kern, man.
Lovely. Well, good luck to you, Google Glass. I still think you're creepy. An Ubuntu-powered smartphone is coming to the market a year and a half after previous attempt to launch a model via crowdfunding failed. The Aquarius E4.5...
We're in slideshow mode. Sorry about that.
Oh,
sorry,
what's
Sasha.
happening?
I don't know. We just went into a slideshow.
It's the age of Aquarius. Yeah. The Aquarius E4.5 Ubuntu edition relies on a card-like user interface that is not focused on apps. Unlike the original proposal, the handset does not become a desktop PC when plugged into a monitor. It is initially being targeted at early adopters who developers hope will become advocates for the platform. The British company Canonical, which developed the Linux-based operating system, said it hoped to emulate the success of Chinese companies including Xiaomi, with its launch strategy. Xiaomi. This includes holding a number of flash sales in Europe beginning this week, in which the device will be sold for a short period of time, giving the developers an opportunity to gauge demand and response to feedback before committing to a bigger production run. The Ubuntu handset can run apps written in either HTML5 web programming language or its own native QML code. However, its operating system effectively hides them away. Instead of the traditional smartphone user interface featuring grids of apps, it uses themed cards that group together different facilities. Canonical calls these scopes, and they are reminiscent of the swipe-based card system used by the Google Now personal assistant. The phones themselves are being made and sold by a Spanish company, BQ, which already has an Android variant of the hardware. They include an 8-megapixel rear camera, a 5-megapixel front one, and a 1 gigabyte of RAM memory. They will cost about €170, which is $195 or £127. So this is a phone that I would want, Robbie?
Yeah.
Yes.
What self-professing geek wouldn't want an Ubuntu phone?
So what's a scope? What do you think a scope would look like?
Well,
then?
I don't know. You know, I'm going to have to experience the Ubuntu platform on phones. I really like the Ubuntu Edge and the whole idea behind Mark's vision for a phone that was dockable to become a desktop computer, basically. Really kind of like that idea. So where they're going with it, we'll have to see. I know that some of the flash sales are going on today. I think they're taking a break, but we're going to see more and more of these getting actual physical reviews since they are becoming available on the market.
So what you're saying is that possibly this could be a product that I could have on my new show?
Hey, there you go. That'd be an idea, eh?
Yeah.
Want a new phone? How's your Samsung treating you? Because this would be kind of bleeding edge. For sure, no pun intended.
How awesome
Ubuntu
would
Edge.
that be? Not so awesome in the tech world. I feel like this happens weekly, actually. Samsung is warning customers about discussing personal information in front of their smart television set.
What?
Yes, scary stuff. The warning applies to TV viewers who control their Samsung Smart TV using its voice activation feature. When the feature is active, such TV sets listen to what is said and may share what they hear with Samsung or third parties, it said. Samsung's privacy policy for its net-connected smart TV sets explain that the TV will be listening to people in the same room to try and spot when commands or queries are issued via the remote. It goes on to say, if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party. The third party being the company providing speech-to-text conversation for Samsung. Publicity about the issue led competitor LG to create a software update which ensured data collection was turned off for those who did not want to share information. So from what I understand, your information will only be gathered while you're actually actively using the voice recognition on your remote. Like, it's not always constantly working.
That's kind of the misconception, I think, when it comes to, you know, news stories and these kinds of technologies, and there's a fear-mongering that happens.
Right.
And Samsung's immediate, almost, well, the warning or the admission that this is actually happening, it kind of makes everybody sit on edge. But the fact is, yeah, I mean, to activate Siri, what do you do? You hold in the home button, or
Right.
there's a process. So on your Samsung remote, there's actually a button that allows you to activate the feature.
I have one of these remotes, and literally I have to press a button, talk in the microphone, channel 4, and then it switches to channel 4, right? So if while I'm pressing that button, I say, I am planning on taking over the world, right, then everybody hears that, and it doesn't switch to channel 4. Instead,
Maybe
I don't
take
know.
you over to the Microsoft channel or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
Google Glass. Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's the fear of you don't necessarily know what your technology is doing under the hood, behind the scenes. I mean, we hear about smart cars and the fact that they're broadcasting unencrypted information and being able to be controlled by unencrypted connections. And then you have a smart TV that when you tell it what to do, it actually transmits that voice command to a third-party service. If it doesn't recognize it off the bat, it's translated then and sent back. But who's to say, is that who's intercepting it? Who's controlling it? Who is in charge of that information and that content, that data? TVs have webcams built into them now, and so it starts to become very creepy when you think about the Big Brother aspect and the ability of governments to use these kinds of technologies. That it could happen, I think, makes people fear that it is happening, even though it may not be.
Yeah. Creepy and scary, but I think we'll be okay. For all your tech news with a slight Linux bias, visit the Category5.tv newsroom at newsroom.category5.tv. For the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Dermatis.
Thanks, Sasha. This is Category 5 Technology TV. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson. And we love getting your questions. Send us an email live at category5.tv. We've got very little time left. I can't believe.
Do we have time for another one?
Do it.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I think I just took a look at one of your Wirecast tutorials, which I found very informative. One thing I'm not clear on is the audio input into your computer. On my laptop, I have only a mini input. What type of input do you have on your computer? And is that audio coming off a mixer? Is there a USB mic that is a reliable option for me? Thank you, from Thad.
For you, Thad? Let's see. I'm going to see if I can. I don't think I have a camera that I can show you, unfortunately. I wish I was ready for you. I'd have my Wirecast cam up on the iPod. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Think I can do it? Think I can do it?
Maybe.
102.
And while you're
Connect.
pulling that up, I can quickly read another one.
Well, let's see if I can connect instantly.
Super fast.
Wirecast cam is pretty great that way,
All right.
I think. Connect. Buddy.
There we go.
I've got a camera. Okay. So now I've got a camera in my hand with an iPod Touch. Okay. This is our soundboard. This is where we pull all the audio. We have, so our headset microphones go into XLR adapters, and those go out to the board. The board then goes into a compressor, which adjusts the levels of our audio, and then a sonic maximizer, which adds some beautiful sound to it. And you'll see that we've got 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch adapters coming out of the board, and we've actually got 1/4 inch going to XLR going out to the rack units, and then from the rack units then all the cables go out, and it is actually just a 1/8 inch. It's an 1/8 inch. So we actually have it going to an 1/8 inch input. That's tough when I got wires all over me. But at least you got to see. So,
Yes.
yeah, it is same stuff that you've got. There's our iPad with an 1/8 inch cable going out to a second sound card. And this is our Cartwell system so that we can play our theme music and everything. So, because that has to happen, I'm going to trigger that. There's a little bit of a delay on the iPod Touch, but you'll see that the music then starts playing. And that's going out through a 1/4 inch as well. So it would be good in a broadcast environment if you have to run long cables to use a balanced input on your computer. In our case, we have a very little amount of distance from the mixing console to the computer itself, and we've wrapped the cables around magnets so that it would absorb some of the interference.
Speaking of wrapping, we have to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
That was the fastest hour of life.
Wow.
And I'm
Where'd it go?
really, really sorry, Spice Jacks, that I did not get to your question / comment. Next week it will happen.
Hillary Rumble will be here, and I promise you, Hillary Rumble will get to your question.
I'm so sorry.
She would not let this slide.
I blame Robbie.
It's all my fault. I was talking away during your news segment, extending.
Very most interesting news stories. That's the problem.
I know. So check it out really, really fast. Look at our Telestream Wirecast. Look at the top right there. We are streaming about 50,000 kilobits per second with only 42% CPU usage. Thank you to everybody who helps to support the show. We are recording to disk in the highest resolution, highest bit rate that we have ever done. I hope that this looks fantastic. We've got the new camera up and running. We've got Sasha on a new camera over in the newsroom. Should have looked better tonight than ever before. We're working on the audio issues, so this is a time of transition for us as a live show that broadcasts every week. It's hard for us to get there because we don't have downtime. I'd love to have 3 months off where we can just tweak everything, but we don't. So we're doing it on the fly, and I hope it was great tonight. See that Roku was working well for everybody, so that's a real plus. I'm glad that's working for you. So have a wonderful week, and we'll both be here next week. So.
That's right. Get ready for more.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Good night.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local showtimes in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.